Hey guys, Coach Ben here, bigbenchas.com, and today we are going to talk about should you wear a belt when you bench press. What are the positives to this? What are the negatives to wearing a belt while you bench press? So I'm going to cover it all for you right now. I'm going to give you my hot take. So when you're bench pressing and you're considering using a belt for the bench, I'm going to start this by saying a belt is not going to help you anywhere close to the means in which it helps you in the squat and in the deadlift. When we're talking about those movements where you're axially loaded and bracing is such a big component to being successful in the squat and the deadlift, not that it isn't with the bench, but it's a little bit different, the belt becomes an instrumental weapon on your side in order to be effective in those lifts, all right, to enhance your bracing ability. Now, when it comes to the bench press, because the loading is a little bit different, quite a bit different than the squat and the deadlift actually, right? We don't have to worry about having weight in our hands or weight on our back. We don't have to worry too much about our spinal integrity breaking down on us over the course of the lift. So when it comes to the belt and the bench press, very simply comes down to, I think, just personal preference. The major thing that you want to keep in mind when utilizing a belt when you're benching is that some of these power belts, and this is your typical 13 millimeter type power belt that you would use for squats, deadlifts. Now, you want to make sure with this type of width to your belt that if you're someone who does gain a lot from being able to effectively arch in the bench press, you want to make sure this isn't blocking your ability to do that. And sometimes when you're in one of those real aggressive type bench press arches, you don't want to necessarily brace in the same capacity that you would through the midsection as in the squat and the deadlift, because that's actually going to kill your arch a bit. We want to stay extended. So oftentimes, and this is a whole other video, whole other subject, but primarily in the bench press, we want to try to breathe into our chest or our touch point and actually create expansion there versus trying to brace into our midsection like we would with the squat and the deadlift. So does it help like it? No. May you get a little bit out, especially if you're a flat back bencher? Potentially. And that's where I would see this helping out someone bench pressing. If you're more of a flat back bencher, you don't have an extreme arch, you're not utilizing an extreme arch, I can see this being more of a weapon in your arsenal. All right. Now, if you're someone that arches a ton, probably don't need it, probably definitely not going to get much out of it. So that's my take on having a belt. It's personal preference. I choose to wear a belt, even though some would say that I have pretty extreme arch when I raw bench. I'm still going to wear a belt because I like how it just helps me connect with total body tension. And I really feel that connection better with my leg drive transferring into the press. So I prefer to wear the belt, but it really comes down to that preference. Now, we have a whole other different kind of belt. Now, this is a bench belt. All right, this is a much smaller belt, not as thick, not as wide. It's not as wide of a belt. And really the purpose of a bench belt, as a raw lifter, this really isn't going to serve you. So unless you're an equipped lifter, you're using a bench shirt, one of the F8 bench shirts, or a poly bench shirt, single ply, multi-ply, this isn't really going to serve you any. So you don't even need to consider what this is right here. If you're wearing a bench shirt, this is a fantastic tool just to strap your shirt down and keep it in place. And if you're wearing one of the unlimited type bench shirts where you can easily take them on and off, that's going to help set your position so you can strap the shirt in to where you want it set, take it off in between sets, put it back on, you don't lose your position. So this becomes a great tool for an equipped bencher, but it's not something that's necessarily going to aid directly in the lift itself. It's just going to help you position your bench shirt. So at the end of the day, bench with a belt, is it something you should do? Personal preference. Try it out. If you have a belt already for the purposes of squatting and deadlifting, you can just throw this on a bench, see if it helps you out with your top set, if you like what you get from it. If you're someone who arches a ton, might not be your best bet. If you're a flat back bencher, might be really great for you. But there you have it, belt and you bench. If anything, maybe it contributes 5 pounds because you're able to brace more effectively, but it is not going to nearly directly impact you as much as squat and deadlifting. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you drop a follow to the channel, and I'll see y'all in the next video.